2 weeks ago, the first annual Bird Burger Awards was held here live on YouTube. We had hundreds of amazing submissions and narrowed it down to 40 finalists for the live event. But I wanted to extend an offer to you all who submitted a photo to still be able to see their photo get reviewed by me during a live follow-up event. In addition, for all of those who just wanted to see every photo submitted to the event, I'll be going through every single photo today to show them all off. Let me know what country you guys are watching from right now in the chat, and we'll be hopping into the photos soon. First, before we hop into the photos, however, I have a surprise guest on today for the podcast, Grant Webster, who was the winner of the popular vote category in the Bird Burger Awards. Grant, how are you doing today?
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me. Doing great.
Nice to have you on. Super excited to have you here. You were the popular vote winner for the Bird Burger Awards. How does that make you feel?
That's incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. And then thanks everyone for voting on the photo. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, you had an amazing photo. I was telling you before we hopped on this live right here that, man, your image was one of those that I was viewing during the competition. And I was like, man, I'm jealous of that shot. I wish I would have taken that shot. So it's a good one.
Thank you.
Yep. So yeah, I just wanted to bring you on here, Grant, for like 5 minutes just to talk about how you captured this image and your experience kind of the Bird Burger Photo Awards in general. Firstly, how did you enjoy the competition, and what were kind of your thoughts of maybe the other submissions as well?
Yeah, the competition was great. I'm glad I stumbled upon it and able to get some photos submitted, and obviously super happy with the results. Yeah, to go up against all those other fantastic wildlife photographers is just mind-blowing to come out with the popular vote like that. And kudos to everybody that submitted and made it through, and Nathan Watson for winning the overall, right?
Yeah. Yep, Nathan had some fantastic ones, man. He had some really solid images.
But Nathan, Nathan, Sergius, and Crystal, those individuals submitted some of my favorites also.
Yeah, those are some really top-notch images. Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, so I mean, your image was voted the favorite, out of hundreds of images that were submitted to the competition. What do you think that kind of means to you, or what does that represent for you in your wildlife photography kind of growth and career and your hobby and passion and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I just love taking wildlife photos in general. So to be able to showcase and have the audience be so receptive of it and just vote it number one over all these other images is incredible, inspiring, and it makes me want to go out right now and shoot more.
Yeah, most definitely. Get more sunset moody shots like that one of the pots. Right. That was really cool. Yep. Yeah, your image was absolutely fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit about the image that you took, the story behind it, and kind of I guess how you took that image?
Yeah, so I got off work a little early. There's just enough daylight left. So I raced home, got my gear, headed out to one of the state parks that surrounds my town here. And I was just hoping to get a photo of a bird. It was late February when I was doing this, and just walking slow down the path is about sunset, and I hear ruffling in the woods there. Most of the time that's a squirrel. Almost like 99% of the time it's a squirrel.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just photograph a squirrel. I get what I get. To my surprise, it was a possum. And so I took a few more steps closer to it, and it saw me, and it turned and ran up the nearest tree, which happened to be this stubby little branch that was burnt, and it was only 6 feet tall, so that's as far as it could make it, and just eye level with me. So I lined up that shot, and the sunset was just happening. Everything just happened perfectly for that photo.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm throwing it up on screen right now. That's what I was looking to find. But yeah, such an amazing photo. Oh man, why does it keep glitching out? There we are. Yeah, such an amazing photo, man. The detail you caught in that possum was just incredible, and the way that you got it at sunset with just that moody background, so good, so beautiful, such a good shot, and the way that you even captured the fade up the possum was really incredible. So, yeah,
Thank
what a
you.
good image, and yeah, just super cool to see. Definitely something you could be proud of, and congratulations again on winning the popular vote. So.
Yeah, thanks so much, and thanks for everyone who voted.
Yeah, most definitely. Is there before we just hop into everyone else's photos, is there anywhere that you're heading kind of with your wildlife photography? Is there any kind of goals that you have? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but any goals you have or any direction you're kind of wanting to head towards in your wildlife photography?
Yeah, hopefully someday sooner than later, this is full time and I just want to take photos of wildlife full time and show people and have uh, the audience be so awe-inspired and kind of like want to be protective of the animals at that point. Like, hey, man, these are actually really neat animals out
Mm,
there in the world.
yeah.
Even just here in Iowa, like uh, trying to showcase wildlife in Iowa, because most people, when they think of wildlife photographers, you're thinking apex predators, bears,
Mm.
uh, yeah, and tigers and lions and the African stuff. And well, Iowa photographer here is trying to showcase there's beauty
Yep.
here too.
Yeah, most definitely. I get the same thing whenever, whether that's friends or, people I know around, my church or stuff, and they hear that I'm a wildlife photographer. They're like, where do you go for that? You travel like hours away. You must have to because there's nothing here. I'm like, you'd be surprised. There's things everywhere. You just have to know how to look, what to look for, and all that good stuff. So that's super
Exactly.
cool. And yeah, hopefully you can keep pursuing that dream and stay encouraged in that.
Yeah, thank you.
Most definitely. Well, it's nice getting to have you on. Thanks for coming on, Grant.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for hosting the first annual Bird Burger photo competition. It's been a blast.
Most definitely. I'm excited to see what you submit next year. So,
You bet.
all right. Well, that's super cool. If you guys haven't seen Grant's work already, make sure to check out Grant in the Instagram link below, and yeah, and follow his work. Give him some support. Give him some love. He has some awesome stuff. So, yeah, thanks for coming on, Grant. And as we're going through these images. We're about to hop into these. Feel free to ask questions when your guys' image comes, or when you guys see other images that you really like as I'm kind of going through showing all these. Feel free to comment as well and just kind of leave some encouragement for them when they come back and watch this if they aren't live with us, or if they are live with us, then you'll get to leave encouragement for them directly. So let me just pull this up here. Let's see. So let's take me 1 second. Okay. And thanks to you all for joining. Nice to see you guys from all around the world again. I woke up, just so y'all know, I woke up sick this morning. So if you hear a little bit of scratchiness in my voice, that's what it's coming from. Okay. So all right, so what we're gonna do is we're going in no exact order throughout this, just categories wise there's an order, but otherwise there's no specific order that we're going through. So we're just kind of going from the ones that was literally first submitted to the one that was last submitted, but going through by categories. So with that being said, actually let me do one thing really quick. Okay. All right. All right. Nice having you guys all on here. So, image number 1. This was actually one that wound up winning the new photographers category. This was second place. Yeah, this was second place. So this was Jerry Ling's image of the warbler. So really cool to see here. I really like this image. The judges obviously liked it, as according to the award ceremony that you saw. But yeah, the pose is really, I think, what sells this image. So this is a fantastic one. I'll be spending about 15-20 seconds on each image, unless we wind up getting comments on it, just because of sake of time. There's only so much I can say about each one, because we got over 300 to go through. So, but yeah, great image from Jerry Ling. This next one here was an image of a, let's see, sorry about that, was an image of a cottonmouth by Jason Crawley. So Jason Crawley took an image of a cottonmouth here. Pretty cool. I like the pose on this one. I think that is, again, what kind of sells this image. And this is the new photographers category once again. So yeah, the pose is really, really cool. Really solid pose here. And the isolation of the snake is a really cool standout aspect of this one as well. The foreground of using kind of the snake curled around as the foreground itself is also a really nice touch to the image. So like that about this one a lot. Another one by Jason Crawley. So this was a cottontail that Jason Crawley submitted. And this one is pretty cool as well. I think the coolest aspect about this one is the backlighting on the rabbit ear. So I think that really helps pop out this image. Is a really cool thing to capture as a new photographer. You're kind of learning about the details of subjects and how you can capture them, you know, in different types of ways. And so I really like how they kind of notice that attention to detail with the ears in this one. So another good one by Jason Crawley. And lastly, a third one by Jason Crawley. And this one is one of a dragonfly, an eastern pond hawk, it looks like, from his description of it. And yeah, this was a really cool one as well. Getting the details in the clear wings, super awesome. Pretty good job in terms of getting it isolated, pretty good color match, and I like a lot of the details in this one. So that was another solid image. Lighting is great on that one. I love the lighting. So this is by a guy named Lance Chenault. This is a photo of a bunch of great blue herons. This is a really, really cool one. Very nicely cleaned up. And I think what really makes this one engaging is kind of the story being told here, and seeing all of the different great blue herons, you know, all together. The two babies have really cool poses, kind of looking separate ways. I like kind of their poses there, as well as the hairs sticking out, the feathers sticking out, I think really add to a lot of character in this image. So I really like that about this one. Another one by Lance Chenault. This is one of, I believe, a rough-legged hawk. I think Lance is actually in the chat. So Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that might be a rough-legged hawk. But yeah, this is a great image as well. A really cool image, just kind of showing the wingspan, showing the reflection against that bird in flight in the water. And so I think there's a really cool kind of creative kind of look and take on this image as well. So I like that about this one quite a lot. Juvenile bald eagle, Lance says. That makes sense. So, yep, juvenile bald eagle. I was mistaken. The white and brown mix caught me off guard from behind. Super cool. So great image again, Lance. We got next an image from Daniel Betty of a hummingbird, new photographers category still. And yeah, this is a great image as well. Especially, it's hard to freeze that action as you're starting out as a new photographer, right? Freezing the action of a hummingbird is about as hard as it gets. And yeah, and I really, really like the way that they were able to get that tack sharp. You can probably see in the YouTube video right here, but it is really nice and sharp on this hummingbird. So they did a fantastic job there. And yeah, really, really solid image. Very cool. So again, by Daniel Betty, another kingfisher image. This is a really cool and engaging one. I think there would have been a little bit more going on in the background. This would have been an amazingly solid image, but the difficulty in getting this close up is definitely challenging on a kingfisher. Belted kingfishers, I know I have experience in that for sure. It is challenging to do that. So I don't know if they're in a blind or what, but man, that is a close, tight up shot that turned out really well. I love the details there. You can tell that it's not like some image that was taken super far away and just cropped in a ton. Probably was cropped in a little bit, I don't know, but yeah, the details really stand out here. And you can even just see by the focus landing perfectly on the eye, but yet not even by the front of the beak, that they were very close up while taking the shot. So super cool image here. Next we got Daniel Betty again. So his third image, but this one is of an osprey. Very, very cool action shot as well. Seems like Daniel Betty has kind of a knack for capturing high action, high speed shots. And yeah, very cool to see this kind of grab of the fish. Obviously the action, I think, is really what's going on here. Or the selling point of what's going on here. And I like that quite a lot about this image. So good job there. Love your comments and thoughts too, Sean. Great stuff. The reflection, super cool. Super cool that Daniel was able to get that close to the Kingfisher. Some great stuff being shared. All right, so this one is by Elijah Rogers. So this is of a California scrub jay. Man, this is a great image, considering like lighting and coloring, I think, for a new photographer. Really helps to highlight kind of the beautiful color scheme going on here, not only with the background and the leaf in the foreground, but specifically with the subject itself in the blue richness of that California scrub jay. So I really like that as well. So that's a really good take there. Love that shot as well. Great job, Elijah. The tiger. So this is by Kyle Nelson. Took this one of a tiger, new photographers. Yeah, this was a really cool tiger image as well, with the pose going on here. The mouth specifically open. That's, I think, what really sells this image quite a lot. So great image here by Kyle. And nice compositional framing, all of that good stuff. Great pose from the tiger. I love that. This is by Kyle once again, of an elephant in the rain. Grayscale image. Really fantastic image here. I think this was taken in a kind of, I don't know if that would have been a zoo or a wildlife refuge or something like that. So the qualifications for the awards would have been a little bit different here. But yeah, still regardless, wanted to show it up. Very, very solid image, and very cool how the grayscale kind of gets darker as you move your eye down the frame. So I really like that about this shot. Moving on to the next one. This is also by Kyle Nelson, and this is, I believe, of maybe an oh man, I might be butchering this because they did not include it in the title, but it could be an ocelot, some other type of small wild cat. Really like this image as well. Very cool grayscale take again. Probably helps from removing those distractions that seem like they might be branches and stuff in the background. So I really like that. Fits it really nicely with the stripes on the subject, and that grayscale choice is really, really good here. Clouded leopard, it sounds like, according to Sean. So very, very cool. I'm not super familiar with all these different African species, so thanks for correcting me on those. If they're American species, guys, I got you. I know these, but if they're not, there's a good chance that I might be messing it up. So this one was the third place winner in the new photographers category, by Arcadius. Yeah, fantastic image here. I forget what we said this was during the live. Oh man, I should be remembering this. I think this was I want to say, I'm going to butcher it. If anyone remembers, put it in the chat. But very cool image. Once again, the judges loved this one. I think what really sells this image is how it feels like it's set into that scene very, very well, with the wheat stalk kind of bending over the grass stalk, and very well kind of isolated on that bird. There is, like the judges said, quite a bit of dead space around it. And if that was narrowed down, I think the shot would have been even more powerful, but still a very, very good image. So fantastic shot here, Arcadius. This was a shot by Stefano, who is actually one of my students. Amazing image of an owl. I think this was a tawny owl. Yeah, great shot here. I love the foreground and how it kind of gives just a kind of like a clouded look around the subject, frames the subject very well, and super cool to get an opportunity that's this close up to a juvenile owl. So very, very cool, very kind of moody, mysterious, and yeah, I love that shot, and very cute as well, like Paul said. So fantastic stuff. This was another one by Stefano. This is one of a frog. I'm not sure which type of frog, but some type of frog. And just a great image here, kind of complementing this green blue kind of blend throughout the colors in the image. So you kind of got these streaks of green through the image, whether that's the background or the subject, layer, depth of field layer, and then you have these blues mixed in the foreground and background as well, and you kind of create this really cool kind of green blue pattern going back and forth. And so I love that about this one. Yeah, so great stuff. American bullfrog is what it looks like, so thanks for letting me know on there. Also, just so you guys know, the chat is a little bit delayed with what I see. My communication it delays about like 10 to 15 seconds between me and you guys. So sometimes when you guys put something in the chat and I'm already flipped to the next photo, I can't really address it. But if you put it on early enough, then usually I'll see it. So just letting you guys know for my response times. So a third image by Stefano, and this is an awesome image, silhouette of an oyster catcher out in the distance underneath a bridge. I remember when he submitted this shot to me as a student in my mentorship program, but this is underneath a bridge, overhanging bridge with a lot of overgrowth. So it really creates kind of this cool kind of dark scene beneath it, and a very, very solid image here. I believe the sun was hitting the background, if I remember correctly. And so you were getting this bright, colorful reflection in the background while still keeping everything dark where he was at. So what a good image there. Cool. Moving on to the next one. So this is by a new guy, Kevin Johnson of a mallard. So this is a bird in flight. Fantastic shot here. Not only is this, again, a hard shot to get, especially as a new photographer, freezing it in action like this, but I think what really is kind of the cool little touch about it is the droplets kind of flying off the back. I don't know how well you can see those on YouTube, but there's a little bit of droplets kind of flying off the tail of the mallard, and that looks really, really cool in this image. So I really like that nice little touch there. Yeah, that was a great composition on the silhouette previously too. This is again by Kevin Johnson. So another bird in flight facing away from the camera. So again, you got some nice action frozen as well as those little droplets behind it. I think just similar to the other one, has a lot of same features, but I like this one a little bit better, largely because of the fact that you wind up getting you wind up getting the background a little bit more isolated off from the subject. So I think that's very cool about this image, and a really solid job there. Pintails are so cool. Love pintails. I'm actually also going to reframe this a tad. Let's see. There we go. Okay. All right. So moving on, we have one last one by Kevin Johnson. So we have swans here, swans in flight. So Kevin Johnson seems to definitely be having that birds in flight thing down for the new photographer. But yeah, I love this image as well. Hard to get the dual swans in birds in flight shots. So love that about this image, and great shot here. Great take. Takes a lot of, skill to be able to get that down. So great job, Kevin. Loved all your images, and yeah, fantastic job. Hope to see you back next year. Moving on, this is an image by Logan Woodhouse. So this is of a ring-necked pheasant flying out in the distance. Very cool image here, kind of showing a scenic landscape with the pheasant kind of flying out in the distance. Man, pheasants are so hard to not only capture, but even let alone find, at least where I'm at. Man, they are like a gem. So, so very cool to be able to get that. Great job, Logan. Moving on to the next one. This is by Bray. And this is a very cool image of, I have no idea what this species is, and I'm not even going to try because I'm going to butcher it. But this is a very cool shot of whatever species that winds up being. I really like the coldness of this image. It feels very cold, very kind of frosty, mystical. Almost feels like you're kind of watching an animal, a creature from almost another world, out kind of on an alien planet. So I really like that about this image. Good take there, and good stuff there. Pronghorn. Cool. Thanks, Jonal. Pronghorn. I don't want to butcher these things, so thanks for that correction. Great image there. Thanks you guys that are submitting into the chat. I love the compliments that are going on there. Feel free to let us know if you're just tuning in, what country you're from, and if you know what species it is, and I don't, like we've already been seeing, feel free to include it in the chat as well. All right, this is another one by Sam Bray. This is a very cool image of a mountain goat, some type of mountain goat. And man, this is a cool shot where you have kind of the juvenile beneath the adult. And I think that really cool, like identical subject framing top and bottom really sells this image really well. And is a very cool aspect about this image. And I think the thing that attracts me most to it, as well as it kind of is interesting in the fact that you have so much background behind it, that it kind of feels like they really are looking off the edge of a mountain and could almost just be falling. flying off any second. So I really like that about this shot. Great image here by Sam Bray. And man, these are some hard animals to capture for a new photographer. So just like Lance said, yeah, those are not easy animals to capture by any means. This is another one by Sam Bray. This is an American white pelican. Great shot here. Great image here. Very cool. Actually, it might not be an American white pelican. It's some type of pelican, but this could have been one of the, I forget the one they have out in Australia. So yeah, but regardless, very cool image, very moody. I like how the white pops against all the dark around it. And yeah, that really is I think the selling point feature of this image. So very cool, Sam. Moving on to Jimmy Svensson. So this was one of the finalists in the new photographers category for the Bird Burger Awards. And Jimmy's image here of the deer was very, very cool. Love this image. I love the scene, I think, more than anything that's kind of set in this image. So we have a very cool scene set by the deer here. You kind of get the little bit of the top of the tree above it, which kind of sets the scene nicely, that it's kind of in the forest underneath the shade, and then the background and the foreground just seems to complement that very well. So great image by Jimmy, and really like this shot. This was another image by Jimmy, which I think this one I personally like even more. This one didn't make it into the finals, but I really like this one largely because of the pose. The pose is so cool, and the action that's being captured here is super, super cool. As well as the color scheme is very nice and gentle on the eyes, yet still very powerful and colorful. So I really like the coloring in this edit, as well as the pose and the action that's going on here. So very, very cool image by Jimmy Svensson, and super cool to see that hunting fox. Now, this was the winning image of the New Photographers Award. This was Jimmy Svensson's image of the puffin flying through the rain. Man, this was a fantastic image. Congratulations again, Jimmy, if you're watching this now or watching this later on. This was just a fantastic image, capturing those rain streaks just ever so slightly, really implying that motion of the puffin, which is not easy to get that in combination with a very, very nice, crisp, sharp puffin in flight. So that was just a fantastic job there. That's right. You are in the chat, Jimmy, so glad you're tuned in. Yeah, congratulations again. This was just a fantastic image, and the judges, I mean, if I know you went back and saw what they said, but everything they said was so good. This is such a challenging and shows a lot of skill as a new photographer being able to capture that image. So great job there, Jimmy, and yeah, congratulations again on winning the new photographers category. Cool. So this was by Ulysses Cabrera. Very, very cool image here. What I like a lot about this one is that it's unnatural for a bird photo in the sense of you have so much actually in focus here. Like the depth of field was quite shallow here, and I would imagine the focal length was actually quite wide. I do not know the exact stats. I could look into it, but I'm not going to spend your guys' time doing that, looking back in the raw data. But this was a very cool and unique image, and I think as a new photographer, this is about one of the hardest things you can try to pursue, is this type of a wider shot, a lot of depth stuff in focus, I should say, and beyond that, also a very interesting bird that is I never have seen a photograph of, I believe. So very, very cool here, and very, very cool stuff. I think that if it would have just been a little bit more clear and precise on the subject versus the surroundings, I think this image would have done quite a bit better too. But great job, Ulysses. Another image by Ulysses Cabrera. This is an image of some sort of what seems to be maybe like a finch, something like that. I'm not quite sure, but very, very cool image of an interesting subject. The subject is very interesting, which I think what kind of sells this image, as well as the leaf kind of accenting that same color as the head on that songbird. So very, very cool there, and I love that shot. Next image by Ulysses, that same interesting bird, but this one is a little bit closer up and a little bit more shallow of a depth of field, a little bit more isolated on the bird. Very, very cool bird once again. Fantastic capture. I think the plants really accent this image a lot as well. The interest in the plants, whether that be the background plants and the interesting shapes going on there, or the plants in the same depth of field as the subject itself. Both of those things are really cool to see, and yeah, really sell this image quite a lot. So great job, Ulysses. Moving on to Diane Shaw. So this is the next photographer, Diane Shaw. Very cool image of the gannets. So these are, I think northern gannets, if I remember correctly. But very cool image here, kind of showing this kind of partnership between the two of them. Would have been a very cool moment to see, especially as a new photographer. So super cool to see kind of that relationship. Good job accenting and kind of showing that relationship as a new photographer and telling that story in this image. So great job, Diane. So this is an image by Kwesi Arco. Kwesi Arco, some sort of maybe weaver bird, something like that. I'm not sure with the specific species, but very, very cool. Very cool image, very well isolated. There was quite a bit of photoshopping that went on here, which I think one of the things that maybe would have stopped it from going into the finalists, but a very cool moment regardless. Isolating the subject and really showing this interesting engagement on the pose of the